Hey guys, Paul here. Welcome to RDTV. Thank you very much for tuning in to our latest edition where we're driving the Formula Truck in Automobilista by Razor Studios. We're at Cascavel. We've got a big ass diesel car or truck or vehicle or whatever you want to call it behind us, and we're going to have a lot of fun, I can tell you now. So, here we go, we're off. There is diesel smoke, we've got big wagons, we go sideways very easily with too much horsepower and not enough brakes. So, Formula Truck peeps, why oh why are we driving this today? Well, I'll tell you, because it is awesome. It is absolutely exceptional and it totally deserves the race department talk and drive treatment. So, lo and behold, this is what we're doing. Now, I honestly do think the Formula Truck content in Razor Studios Automobilista is criminally underappreciated by the sim racing public. It's very rarely, a little bit of a love tap there from behind, but we survived. We're going to squeeze his line off. Yes, the position is ours. It's criminally underappreciated by sim racers, in my opinion, and it is some of the finest content in all of sim racing, in my honest opinion. But it is a little bit peculiar, it's a little bit different, and I can see why maybe it's been forgotten about by sim racers, or it's just that little bit too bizarre to really have a life for its own. And that's not fair, because it's wicked. I love the Formula Truck series. It is an absolutely fabulous collection of content. Running a little bit wide there onto the marbles, which will give me position, but run me a little wide as well. But we've got away with it. Sweet. P12. Oh no, been undercut. P13. Not a bad opening lap or so. Whoa, a lot of smoke. We're avoiding whatever world of problems that's going to bring us. Drop into third, get a good run off the corner. Beautiful. Look at that. We've even got a bit of diesel smoke. That's something new since the last time I drove the Formula Trucks by Razor. It's another welcome nod to the world of immersion which we all enjoy in sim racing, I am sure, because anybody who's lucky enough to have been and seen truck racing in real life will know these are not clean machines. There's a lot of brake smoke, there's a lot of diesel smoke as well, the big, the rowdy vehicles, and to be honest, if you go and see them trackside, they really are quite the sight to behold watching truck racing. Whoa! Hello, that weren't fun. I got me in a truck sandwich. A little bit leery there of the AI, but we'll let him off on that one occasion, because that's the only real quirk I've seen. Oh no, understeer city, we're on marbles, we're going grass trekking. But we can recover it because it's a long race. And that's knocked us down a 15th, almost 16th. Oh, Paul, you've got your work cut out, son, to get in front of these guys now. Yes, as I was saying, the real world truck series, this is based on the Brazilian Formula Truck Championship. It's an official license, it's Razor official default content, it's not a mod created by anybody, although I must say there are one or two mods out there on the internet that replicate the different series or different years of the series that it's been running compared to the standard stuff that's brought into Automobilista. So that's really cool. If you are a huge Brazilian truck racing fan, you can virtually recreate many different years of the category. And daft as it sounds, that's really worth doing. Because not only have Razor brought out just the default stock trucks and liveries and drivers, but it's the full shebang. So any of you sim racers out there with a longer memory may recall Formula Truck was a standalone game from Razor Studios back in the Game Stock Car Extreme days. But since then, They brought it into what was formerly Stock Car Extreme and is now Automobilista as part of the default content. Oh, let's go around his outside. Nope, marbles, not happening. Drop it to third. See, too much ambition, not enough skill, and that's lost us 2 places. These are like the minis that we did a video on the other day, in that they're relatively low speed, massively close racing, but they're just the polar opposite of a mini. They're not small, they're not front wheel drive, and they're not a hot hatch. They're big, whoa, there's a hilarious going on there. They're big ass trucks. Yes, trucks, of all the weird and wonderful things to have in sim racing, and I'm going 3 wide almost here. But we're braver than the AI on this occasion. Both run a little bit wide. Oh, that's not cool. They need to stop doing that. That's annoying. If they run wide, they just come straight back on the track without looking. That spoils it, I must admit. And that's twice in one race. And funnily enough, the first time I've seen that happen at this track. Well, certainly in earlier builds. It's been a while since I've been in these here virtual beauties. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's not just the trucks themselves that have been recreated for AMS by Riser Studios. There's also the full Brazilian Formula Truck category racing tracks. So it races a lot of the tracks already part of AMS as part of the Brazilian stock car schedule, but they have, in some cases, their own version layout. So like now we're on the short national, I suppose you'd call it, Cascavel layout. But they've got slowdown zones, which is a component of the real world truck series in Brazil. In fact, we're passing it now. Look at these cones here. But basically you've got, depending on the track, to reduce your speed to a prescribed value. So on this track, for example, that's 99 miles per hour. If you don't do that, you will be getting yourself a penalty, and that will be pretty much the end of that for you. And in fact, that's precisely what happened to me in a previous recording of this video, which is a shame, because if I do say so myself, it was a very entertaining video. And rather than go to the back of the grid having stopped in the pits and make for a boring race, I've decided to start again, which is a shame because, as I say, it's getting late now. My concentration's already gone and I've used all my jokes. So and I can't remember what they were, so we're not going to do it again, and we're just going to start afresh. So yeah, it's got the actual rules and regs of the Brazilian category. And to the best of my knowledge, the slowdown speed limit zones, shall we call them, I don't believe they exist in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, nor a series that I'm a little bit closer to, the British National Series. Let's make sure we slow down. There we go. So I do think it's something that's exclusive to the Brazilian Championship. And I'll be honest, I don't profess to know exactly why the slowdown zones even are there. I will assume it's something to do with safety, because these are big heavy vehicles that go very, very fast indeed. So you're talking like 130 mile an hour in something that weighs the same as my house, and you don't want to be barreling into a particularly fast or dangerous section of the circuit at those kind of speeds and something go wrong. So it could well be a safety measure. I know I've been to the British Super Truck Grand Prix at my local circuit at Donington Park in Leicestershire or Derbyshire, if you so desire, considering it that direction. And I know that when they race there, that's both the British and the FIA European category, they do close a lot of the circuit down. So if you're wanting to spectate from like my usual favourite choices of on the craner curves or at the bottom of the old hairpin, that area of track is closed off, and it's just Redgate on the top of Hollywood where spectators are allowed in, and that's purely a safety measure. You can imagine if you have an accident in something as big as this, it's gonna be one seriously big shunt. So for that reason, there are some measures taken to ensure spectator safety should the worst happen, and I can only assume that's some of the rationale that sits behind the 99 miles per hour speed limit zone in the Formula Super Truck series. Should we try the outside again? Nope, it's not happening for us, so let's get back online so we don't open up the inside to that VW that's behind us. And it's interesting because it adds another aspect to the driving experience that us sim racers are not used to in other different, more regularly created categories of racing in sim. And this is another thing why I love Riser Studios. Who'd have, what sim racing company that's looking to shift millions of units would think about having something like the Brazilian National Truck Racing Championship in it? Riser love to bring us the more obscure, more interesting content in sim racing. And with Formula Truck, for me, absolutely hit it out of the park. I love these trucks. I absolutely love this content. It's really good, hard, close racing. They're fun to drive. They make a good noise, for diesels anyway. And they're everything I want. I'm not going there because that's asking for it. They're everything I want from sim racing content. And I'd love, to be honest, I would absolutely love to see these more widely utilised in online events and leagues and whatnot. In fact, it's something I'm going to talk to the boss man about the next time I speak to him. See if we can run an RD league in these, because if we do, I'm all over it. Absolutely all over it. I forgot how good they are until I started making this video. And I'm having the time of my life. This is wicked. Some of my, like I say, some of my favourite sim racing content. Right, watch out for the slowdown zone. There we go. And that's opened us up to this guy who we're going to let have the position. Otherwise, we're going to be going a bit too close for comfort even. Got the run though. This guy's got a slow run as well, so maybe we can take two. Do we risk it? Do we risk it, people? No. Yes, keep it in nice and tight. And you know what? It might look a little bit sedate on the screen. These are really feisty little things. Well, little's completely the wrong way to describe them. They're really feisty, big, huge, massive, beastly things. The rear-wheel drive, there's an absolute ton of horsepower, and if you're too excitable on the loud pedal, it does that. Everybody likes a sideways truck at 100 miles an hour. So that keeps you on your toes from a driving point of view. And they've got like no brakes worth mentioning whatsoever. So you've really got long braking zones that you've got to hit the point, otherwise you're going to be sailing way past the corner. You've got the slowdown zones that you need to remember and make sure you get slow enough not to get a penalty, but fast enough not to be annihilated by everybody else. That were close. That were close to getting a penalty, that one then. I think I did 100 as I entered it, not 99. So there must be a little bit of tolerance in play there that's helped me out, thankfully. Oh, 3 wide. But they're also, as I was saying to get back onto the point, the really big vehicles, just literally the size of them, are huge. And that makes for some awesome racing, because you've really got to think about what you're doing when you're making a pass. You've not got a lot of space in which to play with. So often overtaking is quite difficult, and it's massively rewarded when you get it right. And that's just another element of realism that I enjoy. Overtaking in any form of motorsport is difficult, And often in sim racing, especially if the AI aren't quite up to scratch, it can feel a little bit too easy to pull a pass. But on these, because they're pretty much as fat as the corner is wide, you've really got to think about what you're doing if you want to get past. Slow down enough, there we go. If you want to get past without making contact. And that is one darn satisfying feeling when you get that right. And when you take it online as well, you've got to be really, if you want to keep it clean and you want to keep it fair, you've really got to think through what you're doing. Like with that chap there, that was quite easy because I got a better run out of the corner and got a little bit of an overlap on him. But in terms of going hard under braking past people, that's when the skill is required to do it well and to do it cleanly. And I love that about these things, especially with the longer braking zones as well. You've really got to think it through. And also another thing I enjoy, these are H-pattern gearbox vehicles, so you've got to use the H-pattern, you've got to use heel and toe as well, even though it's a diesel. That's a bizarre thing to say, heel and toe in a truck, but that all adds to the real mechanical and manual feeling that you get in something like one of these. It's really one of those ones where the driver makes a difference. It's not full of computers, there is no stupid DRS or hybrid technology engines involved. It's just pure nuts and bolts and big old pieces of metal pushing it on a racetrack as hard as it will go. Excellent. Now, I believe I've said at the start of the video, this is Riser default content, so if you own Automobilista, you will have the officially licensed Formula Truck category to play with in the game. But also, modders have gone and created multiple seasons of the category with the correct drivers and the talent files, so the top guys of the real world series come out on top and the tail enders are at the back of the grid. At last count, I think it goes back as far as 2012 or something like that, so there are multiple years of the Formula Truck series. And it's well worth having a look at those because they're all put together really nicely indeed. I've not seen a bad one yet. And there's also, for whatever licensing reasons I do not know, Mercedes-Benz aren't represented in the Riser content. There is a truck that purports to be Mercedes-Benz but doesn't have the logos. So there is a mod out there that will put the Mercedes name and logo back on the UI and the trucking game as well. So that's really cool. So you can have absolutely the full Brazilian Formula Truck experience. And also just as cool, as in the truck that we're driving now, this Volvo. Because everybody likes a Volvo in motor racing. Or I do anyway. And to add to my Volvo driving experience, a racing truck is absolutely no bad thing and worth the price of admission alone. Right. Go on, son, let's go for it. Yes! There's a touring car move there. Let's give him a little kiss, let him know we're there. No, he's got the run on us again, so discretion's the better part of valour. Oh, he's giving me a love tap anyway to tell me that he wasn't happy with that. I've got an even bigger love tap from behind. Hey, it's all kicking off in truck racing, peeps. See what I mean about it being close and tense? It feels like a NASCAR race at times, where you put a move on the guy in front of you that's not 100% successful or well thought through, 2 or 3 vehicles are going to go past you in the blink of an eye. So I can see he's lining me up into this particularly tricky final corner, but we've got the run, so we're alright. We're not going to receive a little bit of unwanted attention, and we've got away with it again. And yeah, these absolutely, I mean, I'm just racing the AI, and let's be honest, the AI in Automobilista is pretty good. And the race has been awesome, apart from those weird things where the guys went off at the last turn and then came back and be damned anybody in their way. That were a bit annoying, I've got to admit, but the AI's been damn good. I'm racing it on 105% difficulty, if memory serves me right, and you can see how much fun I'm having. Now you imagine doing this online with 20 other drivers who all know how to handle themselves in a super truck. And yeah, that's right, it's going to be a lot of fun indeed. And I am absolutely going to ask if we can get this, very deeply insist that we revive this in our Race Department Racing Club. Potentially, ideally, with a view to doing a league in it, because I think these have got absolute classic written all over them. And to be honest, as I say, it's been a while since I've driven these in AMS, and I don't know, and it was one of my favourites when I last did. Some of it's down to the novelty factor, some of it's down to just the pure pleasure of racing them. But I don't know whether it's a placebo because I've not been in them for a while, or I'm just falling back in love with AMS once again. But it feels better. It feels better than they've ever felt before. I know the last time I drove, I'm pretty sure the diesel smoke that you've seen on screen so far wasn't there. I'm pretty sure that's new. And the sim's gone through a whole bunch of updates and upgrades since I last spent any really serious time in it. So that will be having an effect too. But everything about it just feels right. The force feedback feels, I can feel that then. I felt the truck getting away from me at the rear before I saw it. And that's exactly what you want force feedback to be. It feels heavy, yet still racing car nimble. Again, like you'd expect it to feel. The sounds, even though they're horrible diesels, the sounds are spot on. I love the way that the dust kicks up in AMS, especially because we're in a warm climate in Brazil, so a lot of the grass is scorched, which will make for a much dustier kick up behind the wheels than it would do in somewhere like Silverstone in September, for example. I just love the whole thing about it. I feel like I'm driving in the real deal when I'm racing AMS. And these Formula trucks are absolutely no exception to that rule. They do the series massively, massively proud. And as a sim racer, I think this is phenomenal, regardless of what content we're talking about or what sim we're talking about. As a sim racing experience, this is driving these 20 minutes of my oh so rare and oh so precious time. Very, very, very well spent. And as a fan of AMS in general, and as a fan of weird, wonderful and slightly quirky content, all the more so is this a worthwhile addition to my library. Absolutely. I think everybody, if you've not tried Formula trucks within AMS before, or you've forgotten about them and not tried them for a long time, or even if you've just forgot about AMS in general because you've got overly excited about VR, like I did, and you've parked AMS because no VR, no play, I implore you, blow the virtual dust off your copy, get it loaded back up again, get these Formula truck vehicles going, pick your favourite obscure Brazilian track that you'd never heard of before AMS came out, do what I'm doing, and have yourself a whole bunch of fun. You will thank me at the end of it, because it's epic, absolutely epic, and something that I'm going to very quickly reevaluate as back to incredibly near the top of my list of favourite sim content for any title from any era ever, period, full stop. Just phenomenal. Oh, nearly got caught then with the 99 miles per hour speed trap, but we got away with it. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, this is a little scratch. This is something special. Now, can I reward myself by sneaking into the top 10 on what's going to be either the final or penultimate lap of this race? Not like that, I'm not. Right, come on peeps, we're going to do it. We're going to go for the inside. This is victory or bust on this corner. So get late on the brakes, get it turned in early. We've got an overlap, but he's covered it nicely. Look at him. Oops, second gear's not a good call. Oh no. Dang. That's the beauty and the drawback in equal measure of a H-pattern box. I misshifted. I put it in second rather than third. Spun the rear end of the truck round and Bob's your uncle, vanish your aunt. You're going to be facing the wrong way real quick. And I can only imagine how trouser staining that must be to do it in the real thing and see many dozens of tons of racing machinery piling down to you, and all you've got on's an open face helmet and a seatbelt. Let's 99 miles an hour again. There we go. A load of people, for some strange reason, are going in the pits. That's because I've allowed fuel usage and not taken into account the race length. So actually, bizarre! We're now P5. Now P5. We'll put that down to a slight miscalculation in both our race settings and the fuel usage allowance for riser have applied to these here Formula trucks. But the good news is, see, it's a piece of content that keeps on giving. I've told it I love it, so it's rewarded me with a top 5. No other category of racing would give you the same sort of love back. Now, I don't actually know how long a real Formula truck race lasts. I think in the UK they're about 20 minutes or so. They're not particularly long races. So as you can imagine, the wear on the tyres and the brakes, stopping something as big and as heavy as one of these things at 100 odd miles an hour is significant. So they're very much not an endurance racing type of vehicle. Everyone's going in the pits now, so I reckon that's a good time to spell the end of our token drive in the Formula truck for Automobilista. We will take a default victory by nothing other than poor game setting rather than driving skill. But there you have it, peeps. That is the Formula truck piece of content for Automobilista by Riser Studios. Absolutely, categorically, 100%, well and truly, cannot say it enough. These are unbelievably good. So if you've not been on it for a while, as I said earlier, or you're fancying a change of scene, have a go. You will be rewarded. It is phenomenal. So I've been Paul. This has been RDTV. We've been doing another token drive. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope you've enjoyed a bizarre choice of content. I'll judge that by how many people watch this. If we get a lot, I'll know that you agree with me and truck racing is awesome. And if we get 7, I'll know that it's probably underutilised for a reason, and that's because nobody likes it. So do me a favour, give me a like and a subscribe on Twitch and YouTube, please. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch and YouTube, or at RaceDepartment.com. I've been Paul, this has been RDTV. Sim racing is awesome. Sim racing in trucks is even better. Till next time, stay safe, have a good one, and I'll catch you probably tomorrow night. Alright, cheers.